Welcome back. Today we have a really nice energizing practice working towards one-legged king pigeon using a block if you have it. If not, you can prop your bum up on pillows or books. You might not need to, but it's possible. And some kind of strap to help close the gap that we're going to create between our toes and our hands. So if you don't have a yoga strap, it can be the belt from your dressing gown or any kind of fabric looping device. Your dog's lead could work too. So you might not need it. We can modify without it, but it will be a really nice thing to use to help us open our shoulders and work into a bigger back bend. So nice active back bends, a really energizing practice. So a lovely one to do first thing in the morning if you can. So we'll come straight into downward facing dog. Setting up here, taking a good minute and a half just to start to warm up the arms, stretching out through the backs of the legs. So if you're someone that likes to pedal, you can bend one knee as you press the other heel down into the floor. And then switching sides. So that can be a fast movement, a swaying movement, just taking any movements that you need to start to feel really comfortable and more open here. So roughly feet hip width apart, pressing the chest back towards the thighs, starting to engage the tummy, drawing the ribs in. Slowing and deepening the breath, and if you're familiar with the breath of the throat, Ujjayi breathing, sometimes described as ocean breathing, just softening at the back of the throat, finding your way to Ujjayi breath. Otherwise, just full yogic breathing. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. From here, we'll just shorten the stance that we're used to. So walk the feet in about a step. Perhaps your heels ground, perhaps they don't. If it's really intense, you can bend at the knees here. And we're going to come straight into a twist. So starting to reach the left hand for the outside of your right leg, so really anywhere along the calf that you can reach for. So higher up might be easier. If you can reach for around the ankle, reaching there, and then bend your left arm to help turn and twist you, so you can start to look underneath the standing arm, really pushing, rooting the standing hand down into the floor, turning the spine as much as you can here while keeping the hips nice and square. Switching sides, so replace the left hand, right hand lifts up, reaching for anywhere along the outside of the left calf, and then bend the right hand, turn, twist, look underneath your standing arm. So building lots of heat in the arms, starting to open the spine, preparing for back bending. Replacing the hand. Walk the feet back a step, and we'll just take a couple of vinyasas here to keep building heat, warming up, and that will be Freddie, you can hear in the background babbling. So taking an inhale breath, round forward through the spine, come into plank pose. You can drop the knees if you need to modify, exhale through to your tummy. Press the toes down into the floor, inhale, peel the chest up. Exhale, send the hips back to child's pose. Just taking a couple of breaths here in child's pose, stretching through the shoulders, so keep it nice and active through the arms lock out straight. Resisting by pressing the palms down into the floor. Press the chest down. And then inhale, round through the spine. So we're going to come forward to all fours, transitioning straight into upward facing dog. So if they aren't ready, tuck the toes under, tuck the tailbone down, and roll through the spine, slowly engage the tummy, as you send the hip bones down towards the floor, keeping the toes tucked under. Really pushing down, roll the shoulders back. Keeping the thighs really strong, stomach muscles strong, actively curling back using the muscles of the spine, and then just seeing if you can lift one foot from the floor so the hamstrings work really hard, the bum muscles work hard, switching to lift the other foot, release it down and send the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Taking a breath in and a breath out. And then on an inhale, kick your right heel to the sky, exhaling to step the foot forward between the hands. Now, generally, we look to get the knees stacking over the heel here. If you are an experienced practitioner and exceeds slightly, as long as that's comfortable, that's okay. Having a little play with the rotation of the shoulders, turning the palms outwards as you arch back. And then turn the palms to, as if you were trying to turn them to face the back wall. So we start to externally rotate, which is what we're looking to do when we start to come into one-footed king pigeon. Placing the hands, step your way back to downward facing dog. Breathing here, we soften at the shoulders. Preparing to come to the left side, so when you're ready, use your next inhalation to start to lengthen the left heel up to the sky, three-legged dog. And as you breathe out, squeeze the knee forward and step the foot between the hands, lowering the back knee. So we come back into Anjaneyasana. So this time you can just keep the palms facing each other, shrug the shoulders down away from the ears as you curl back. Keep pressing really strongly down through the top of your back foot. So the back thigh is pushing down into the floor with some force to keep supporting the pose. And this time we'll move through a vinyasa, step your way to plank pose, hold for a full breath, and then exhale through to chaturanga and hold here for a couple of breaths if you can. Inhale, slide the chest forward and up for upward dog, seeing if you can just lift the right foot this time. And then replace the foot down, exhale your way back to downward facing dog. So we'll just start to build some more stretches into the back leg. Inhale, kick the right heel to the sky behind you. Exhaling to step it through once more, lower the back knee down. So this time, just to get that feel for how strongly your back leg should be working, push down so much through the top of your back foot that the knee can start to lift up. And you can push the hands into the thigh, shrug the shoulders back, puff the chest towards the ceiling, and just lift the gaze ever so slightly here. So you start to build a really nice, strong back bend. Not a huge one, but a strong one. And then so long as it's comfortable on the back knee, seeing if you can bend the back knee. Maybe you need to shift that knee back slightly so you're not directly on your knee bone. And start to hug the heel in towards your bum. At the same time, just curling the tailbone forward so you get a really strong stretch here. And then you start with your fingers pointing down your foot and seeing if you can start to turn the palm so your fingertips start to face forward and squaring the chest forward. That stretches your shoulder. Release here, coming into a little twist. So left hand comes down as you extend the right arm and then rolling onto the outside edge of your right foot. So you start to come into a little hip stretch here, and same position again for the back leg, seeing if you can bend it in and grab for the foot with the right hand. And now you can curl the chest back. So we've got a nice hip stretch going. We're working into a back bend, stretching the whole front of the body. Trying not to let the toes ping away, just release them gently back to the floor. Inhale, kick the right heel to the sky behind you once more, and exhale to replace the foot down into your downward facing dog, stretching here. Inhale, kick the left heel to the sky, lengthen. Exhaling to step the foot through, lowering the back knee down. And again, just bringing the palms to your knee to give you something to kind of push and resist into. Leaning the head back, so strong through the back leg that you can start to lift the back knee up. Good. Lowering the back knee once more, so long as it's comfy on that knee, you can start to bring the heel in. So you might have a clearer view this time As I start to hug the heel in towards my bum, my palm is firstly facing down towards the knee, but then I'm turning the palm on the toes of that foot and then try to square my chest forward to get a nice stretch there across the chest. Coming into my twist, so right hand comes down, left arm extends up, finding a little hip stretch on the left side as you keep flexing the foot, roll onto the outer edge of the left foot, curl back as you reach for the back foot in your left hand. Gently release the foot, press your way back to downward facing dog, moving through a vinyasa. Inhale, round through the spine, and exhale with control straight to upward facing dog. So a real brief move through plank pose to bring us here, lifting one foot again if you can, and then replace the foot. Exhale to downward dog. Inhale, kick the right heel to the sky behind you. Coming into pigeon pose now. Exhale, bend the knee forward and just start to turn the right knee to the diagonal corner of your mat. Finding pigeon pose for you. So maybe that's a 45-degree angle with the shin, but we want to start with it really nice and active here. So keeping the front leg really buoyant, the hip up off of the floor ever so slightly, and the back toes tucking under and the knee lifting. So you're really actively balancing here. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, lean forward and reach back. Just flowing with the breath. Inhale, reach up, back bend. Exhale, lower forward, arms go back. One more. Inhale, reach up, extend through the spine. Exhale, place the palms now, and now you can kind of wriggle that hip downwards towards the floor. Turning the hip bone of the back leg also to square with the floor here. And then we'll just take a very brief forward bend just to sit in this hip stretch for a few deep breaths. Really trying to relax that front hip here. And then we'll start to lift our way back up, preparing for our first attempt at using the strap here for an overhead grip with one-legged king pigeon, or Eka Pada Raja Kapotasana. Propping your hip up or your bum up on the block now. Even if you know you can sit comfortably into the floor, just try this and see if you find more spaciousness then through the back bend. So what you hopefully achieve is creating more space around the hip joint in order for you to arch back. Then we're going to loop the strap around your back foot, so bending the knee like we did in our lunge postures before, keeping your hand on the strap, and then bend your elbow in so your elbow brushes your rib cage, and then like you were drawing a semicircle on the wall that's next to you, turn your elbow and point it towards the ceiling. So the strap can be as long or as short as is comfortable for you, as long as you feel no compression in the lower back. And then like a bow pose or a dancer's pose, the foot pushes back into the strap as it would in your hand. Keep drawing the elbows in and back, keeping that external rotation at the shoulders. When you're ready on an exhale, release the hands, gently release the back foot. You can kick the strap off, pushing down and step your way back to downward dog. Pedal out the feet if you feel the need to. Otherwise, just a couple of breaths resting here. Taking a little twist like we did at the beginning. So bringing one hand to the opposite shin. Twisting, looking underneath the standing arm. And then switching sides. Replacing the hand back to the floor. Preparing for pigeon pose on the left side. When you're ready, inhale. Kick the left foot to the sky behind you. Exhaling, bending the knee forward, turn the left knee to the diagonal corner of your mat, finding what works for you here. So 45 degrees, narrower if you need to, or if you're a little bit more spacious in the hips, then eventually the shin can be at about 90 degrees. So up to you. Really active to start with, keeping the back toes tucking under, and then inhale. Once you've got your balance, reach the arms up. Exhale, lower forward, arms reach back. Breathing in, space and length through the spine. Exhale, tilt forward as you release. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, tilt forward, reach back. Inhale, sweep up one final time. Exhale, replace the hands. And now start to wriggle the hip downwards towards the floor. Maybe the back leg needs to wriggle away. Keep squaring the right hip bone to turn down towards the floor, so we keep the hips as even as possible as we just take a few breaths, relaxing, trying to relax the left hip towards the ground here. So This is a short space for surrender. So surrendering over your tension. Sometimes the muscle can bite back or really grip on here as it's quite a strong stretch. So really trying to just allow gravity to do the work as you let go physically. Pushing back up onto the palms. So taking the work out of that kind of actively buoyant position through the pose, we use the block to just prop ourselves up, get a little bit of space up from the floor, space at the hip joint. So you can start to kind of lift up and curl back rather than being stopped forward by instead focusing on just sitting the hip down towards the floor. So once you're kind of lifting here through the spine, again, we bend the back knee. You might need to shift the leg back. So again, you're not on the knee joint, looping the toes with the strap. Same again, find where your grip is comfortable. The elbow scoops alongside the rib cage and then turns upwards towards the ceiling. And just take a couple of breaths here with just that one hand gripping on the strap. The other hand can then support you to get nice and steady. Curling back, so you just lean the head back, not necessarily tilting it back so much, leaning it back so you get space and length through the neck. And then if you're steady enough, the other hand can come to meet the strap as well. When you're ready to come out, release your grip, kick the strap off to one side, pushing down through the palms, stepping your way back to downward facing dog. Engaging the lower belly, press the chest back. If you need to release the neck after the back bending, tuck the chin into the chest. And then release the knees down. We'll take a nice wide stance in our child's pose. So knees as wide as your mat, big toes to touch. So you have this space created for your tummy to just sink now towards the floor between your knees. Arms can rest completely. So not an active stretch like at the beginning. Just let the arms drape towards the floor. Let the forehead come to rest into the ground. Taking the arms behind us then, just allow the shoulder blades to hang heavy towards the ground, the backs of the hands resting into the floor. Taking just one or two more deep breaths here, resting in child's pose. And then we'll come up to finish with just a simple twist, bringing the spine back into neutral after all of the forward and back bends of the class. So sitting on the heels, if that is not comfortable, cross-legged will be just perfect. You can prop yourself up on a block in either position. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of the head. Exhale to turn to the left. Gazing over the back shoulder. Breathing here. Inhale to turn through center. And exhale to twist towards the right, looking over the back shoulder again, rolling the right shoulder back. And then coming back to center to complete your practice, close your eyes, rest your palms facing up or down, and just stay here, focusing on your breath for as long as you have time for. Thank you so much for joining me. Leave your comments, feedback, questions, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.